Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and after years of not having a linebacker, the Washington Commanders finally found their franchise linebacker and might have two, at least for this season. We'll talk about it in today's video. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe. Less than 40% of you guys are subscribed. I'm trying to get to 14K. Hit that like button and that notification bell as well. All those things help out the algorithm a ton. And comment down below, besides Frankie Lomau, who obviously is the linebacker I'm talking about today, who has been your favorite offseason acquisition in free agency that the Washington Commanders made? Because I know if I said draft, you guys would be saying Jaden Daniels. But Frankie Lomau, let's just get started. No BS. He's been an absolute stud for the Washington Commanders. I loved this signing when we made it. I think a lot of Washington Commanders fans loved it. And he has been an absolute stud. Yesterday, and we'll talk about some other players that were good yesterday, but yesterday against the Carolina Panthers, against the Cleveland Browns, he had 10 pass rush snaps, and in those 10 pass rush snaps, he had 5 pressures, 3 sacks, had a 93.5 pass rush grade, and the interception got changed to a fumble, which the other linebacker, Bobby Wagner, forced, and he got a sack on that play. Just an absolutely great performance. Technically had 2.5 sacks, but PFF always rounds up. He had one great play, which it counted as half a sack, but he basically moved the offensive lineman, pushed the offensive lineman back into Deshaun Watson, and got him sacked. So Frankie Lomau was all over the place. He brings that energy. And let me see, I'll pull up another tweet with some other stats that I had on Frankie Lomau. Mike Sanders still had a good game as well. Tyler Biadasz had a great game. Frankie Lomau, so 2.5 sacks, 7 tackles, 3 QB hits, fumble recovery. Just had a really good game for the Washington Commanders. And there was one play where his depth wasn't great on coverage, but he still, went back and made the tackle and, tried to force the fumble, almost forced it. So sorry about that. I don't think they didn't score a touchdown on that play. I think they just on that drive. They just kicked a field goal. Steve here says Frankie Lomau is the best Washington linebacker since London Fletcher. Not close. And I agree. And before we get into that, prayers to London Fletcher and his family. Recently lost his wife, so praying for him and his family, and hopefully you guys do the same. Dan Quinn and Adam Peters gave him a game ball after the game. He was calling the game, so just shout out to London Fletcher and prayers to him and his family during this difficult time. He was a great player for us, and Steve here isn't comparing the two. He's just saying that the Washington Commanders haven't had a good linebacker or elite linebacker in a long time, since London Fletcher. Like, you can name some names that were okay, like, I don't know, like Zach Brown was okay against the run, or was good against the run, but wasn't good against the pass. Like, it just, like, who are you going to name? Because we haven't had very good linebackers in a long time. And Frankie Lomau, he's a different player than London Fletcher was, but he gets the quarterback. He brings that energy that you absolutely love. He brings that energy before the game, during the game, after the game, with his whatever the chant is. It's cool. It's definitely cool, and it gets the defense and the whole team going. I believe he's a Polynesian or Samoan. Not completely sure, so don't hate on me too much there, but he's going back to his roots there with the chant, I believe, and it's really cool to see. And yeah, he brings that energy on the field too with big hits, even when he's not maybe forcing a fumble or getting a sack. Like, he's making his presence known with his big hits, and it's just really great to see. I know I've said that a bunch. You go from David Mayo and Cody Barton and John Bostic to Frankie Lomau and Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner has had a very good season. Do not sleep on him, because he has played very well for the Commanders. Yesterday, he had a sack, and that was technically a forced fumble by him, and just overall has had a bunch of tackles for loss, has played very well in my opinion, and has been a good leader in this defense, in this locker room. and he's been a culture setter, and is another guy that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn brought in that, have helped change the culture and have actually played very well. Like, a lot of people were like, you know what, Zach Ertz is washed, Austin Eckler is washed, Bobby Wagner is washed. Well, guess what? All three of those guys, especially Bobby Wagner and Austin Eckler, have been key contributors, and Ertz has been good too. So maybe they're not all the same player they once were, but they're all been very good contributors, and every single team in the league would have been lucky to have or would in a heartbeat take Bobby Wagner and Austin Eckler right now for what they are getting paid for the Commanders. So those were great signings. Overall, Frankie Lomau, his stats, we'll go ahead and look at his stats on the season. So 5 games played, 37 tackles, 20 solo tackles, 17 assists, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. I'm trying to remember his other forced fumble. I can't remember it. 1 pass breakup or whatever, like batted pass. Or I don't know if it was a batted pass or a pass breakup, probably a breakup. And then 5 yards on the fumble, or on 2 fumble recoveries. And the most important thing, bringing that energy, not a lot of coverage busts with him, and big hits all the time. Now they're starting to use him a little bit more as a passer. So they have been, but now even more. And they use Bobby Wagner there as well, who had a sack, and you love to see that, and was just staring down Deshaun Watson, who was miserable in this game. And you like to see that. The Browns are just screwed paying him what they're paying him and what they had to give up to get him. But Frankie Lomau has been a great free agency signing. Guess what? We did sign a lot of guys to a 1-year deal, but Frankie Lomau was not a 1-year deal. It was a 3-year deal, I believe. Not 100% sure on the the money on that, but it was a solid deal for us, especially the way he's playing. Dorrance Armstrong, another signing. He had a good game, had another sack, so he's up to 3 sacks, I believe, on the season. He's been balling out. So the signings by Adam Peters have really panned out. And I'm going to make a whole video on that, because it's not just Frankie Lomau, Bobby Wagner. Throw in Jeremy Chin, Dorrance Armstrong, Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, Austin Seibert, who I didn't even talk about in my video yesterday. Didn't miss a kick and an extra point, and hasn't so far. Knock on wood. Hopefully that continues. And I know I'm missing other guys. Dante Fowler. I think I said Zach Ertz. Zacchaeus has been good. Other defensive guys. I mean, Farrell in his 2 games had 2 sacks. So and I know I'm missing some guys. But this is just off the top of my head. Like, they've added Jeremy McNichols. Like, they've added so many studs that might not be stars, but when I say stud, like, just a very solid contributor, especially for what we're paying some of these guys. Like, they've been really useful to this team, and this team's 4-1. They're playing the Baltimore Ravens. They're 7-point underdogs. That is really high to me, but right now they're 7-point underdogs. Shout out Bet US. Make sure you guys check them out. But that's crazy to me. It'll be a big game. If they win that game, they're 5-1, and they're playing some easier games than the Ravens. Let's just say that, playing the Panthers, the Bears, some other teams as well. So, they have this game's hard. It's going to be a tough game, but after that, it's an easier stretch for sure. And the Cardinals, they beat the 49ers. So for everyone that was saying, we beat up on a bad team, well, guess what? That bad team just beat one of the better teams in the NFL. So that is it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button, turn on the notification bell so you never miss a video. And I usually just shout out an OG player, and today is going to be London Fletcher. Comment down London Fletcher down below. And just pray for him and his family during this difficult time. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy it, and peace.